I'm Paul Wolliver. I'm the owner of Pinellas Power Products. This is the Predator 2000 watt inverter generator. This is my wireless remote shutoff. This will allow you to shut off your generator while you're still in your sleeping bag or your tent or your motorhome or your van or whatever without having to get out and fight mosquitoes. The installation procedure is very straightforward and simple. Take the two side covers off. On the Predator generator, they're both held on by 3 Phillips head screws at the top. You can just let this side hang down on the pull start rope, and this side will come completely off. I'd like to take this opportunity to point out that there's a misconception among a lot of buyers that this is a replica of the Honda or a copy of the Honda, or as the people at Harbor Freight told me when I bought this one, that it is made from leftover parts from Hondas. It is not. The Honda 2000 is a 100cc engine. The Honda 2200 is 125cc engines. This one is an 79.7cc engine. The Honda is an overhead cam. This is clearly a push rod motor. The Honda is a vertical single cylinder. This is clearly a slant single cylinder. The Honda has the recoil and the stator all at one end of the crank. This has the stator assembly at one end of the crank, the recoil at the other, so it is clearly not a copy of the Honda. It does, however, appear to be an almost dead-on copy of the Yamaha. Okay, installation is straightforward and simple. On the front of the generator, there's a knob that you turn. You got a start position, a run position, and an off position. So coming from this, you'll see a wiring harness. Comes down, it'll have one yellow wire and one orange wire. Those are the two wires that you're going to intercept. And do one at a time so you don't accidentally confuse yourself. On the controller for my kit, you've also got an orange wire and a yellow wire. So since we unplugged the orange one, we'll plug the stock orange one into this connector, and then this will plug back into this orange wire. Now we'll unplug the yellow wire. We'll take the yellow wire from my kit, plug the yellow wire into their yellow, then plug the other end of their yellow into this fitting from my kit. The actual controller is this area right here. If you lift up on the fuel hoses, you can actually shove it right up on top of this frame. My kit comes with a bunch of zip ties. They're simply to tidy up the work area. I'm going to use one of the zip ties to tie the controller to the top of this unused rack. Next thing is the kit comes with the battery and a battery charger. On the battery charger, the plug is perfectly round. Just take a razor blade And just to make your life a little easier, cut the plug to where it's flat on two sides. And all that does is allows us to feed it through the vent area in front of the generator. You see that flashlight? What I'm doing is trying to feed the power cord over to where I can get a hold of it. Okay. So now we're going to put the power cord into one of the outlets on the front of the generator. Pull the slack out of it here. Now it's coming out this side. We're going to go ahead and feed it through where it's coming out the other side, where we can hook it all up. You notice the controller has one female plug. You plug the charger, male, into the female plug. And included in the kit are two pieces of Velcro. Take one half of the Velcro. I usually use the stiff side for this portion, and you're going to put it against the back of this piece of plastic and line it up to where the top of the Velcro is just about even with the bottom of the fuel tank. And all this is going to do is help hold the battery into position. Okay. Then you'll notice that it is arched right here. You can either cut this straight or drill a small hole right through here that one of the zip ties is going to run through. When you're drilling this hole, take your time. There's a fuel tank right behind it. If you punch through the fuel tank, then you're going to have a bad day. Now on the battery, there are 5 LED lights. When they're all on, the battery's 100% charged. If it's only 4, that's 80%, 60%, 40%, 20%, and so forth. So we're going to mount the battery right here. We'll push it up all the way against the bottom of the fuel tank and slide it back to where the LEDs are right about even with the edge of this panel. Now when you go to push it in place, the battery is going to try and stick to the Velcro. So just pull the panel out just a little bit with your fingers as you get ready to push it up into place. Included in the kit are 2 long zip ties as well as a bunch of short ones. Like I said earlier, the short zip ties are strictly to tidy up the work area when you're done. The 2 long zip ties are going to be used to secure the battery nice and snug. So what we're doing is running an X pattern with the zip ties. So we'll put them both in a little bit loose at first, and then we'll put some tension on them once they're both into place. Okay, and now if you run your finger through here, you'll notice between the ignition coil and the battery there's plenty of room. You don't want the 2 touching because eventually with the engine vibration it'll rub a hole either in the ignition coil or in the battery. Now on the controller, you take the 1 remaining male plug, you plug it into the female output on the battery. Take the wires and tuck them in here out of place, or out of the way. You'll notice that the pull rope is going to run underneath the main power wire. So I'm going to take another tie wrap and just tie that wire up high so that it's never going to drop down and get rubbed through by the pull rope from years of service. Essentially, the kit is done now. The battery has a rocker switch on it, and if you do it the way I showed you, with the LED lights visible here, up is on and down is off. If you wanted to, you could install it just like this without drilling a hole for the switch or anything else. You'd turn the switch to the on position and put the covers on and leave it that way. However, if when you're done camping and you did this, after a month or so, this battery would be totally dead, and when you started up the generator, the remote control would not work until you left it running for a few hours to charge up the battery. So there is an option on this, and we'll go into this right now. Go ahead and put this side cover back into place. You have the flashlight. Go through from this side now and shine the flashlight through it, and you will see exactly where the switch is for the battery. So I'm going to take the screwdriver and push it through to where it lines up right with the switch. I'm going to put my hand around the other side of it to support the cover, and I'm going to push on it just hard enough to make a mark. Okay, come back around this side now. This particular generator had an imperfection earlier. I don't know if you saw it on the video. If not, you can back it up and you'll see where it had this one was an imperfection. But the mark that I just made is right here, just below the letter R. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole through the cover, basically into the letter R. You could drill into here. I strongly do not recommend it. This is a stainless steel cover, and it's going to have a razor sharp edge, and you don't want to poke your finger through a piece of metal that has a razor sharp edge on it. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and drill a hole, and I'm going to go up a little bit from where my mark is because I don't want it to hit the edge of the metal cover and have a sharp edge for me to cut my finger on as I am trying to turn the battery on and off. You can also use just a large drill bit instead of a repairman's reamer to ream out the hole. But being that this is plastic, it does ream out very easily. I'm just tearing away at the foam that's inside it. How big a hole you put is strictly your discretion. I strongly advise you to put a hole that's large enough for you to actually put your finger in there and turn the battery on and off. Otherwise you've wasted all that time. Not quite big enough. If you don't have a burring tool, a simple knife will work to remove the burrs. Okay. Right now the battery is in the on position. So this cover is in place correctly now. We'll go ahead and put the 3 Phillips head screws in at the top. You'll notice on the front of the battery charger, even though the generator is not running, the light is on. That's because a wire does not care which direction electricity is flowing. So right now, instead of flowing from the charger to the battery, it's flowing from the battery to the charger. So that light is going to tell you clearly if you've got the battery turned on or off. So when I turn the battery off with the little switch that's positioned right behind the hole where I shove my finger through, the light comes off now. So you can clearly see when you've got your remote control turned on or off now. And it does leave a hole in the side of the generator. Now you can put whatever size hole you've got. You know, I put a fairly large hole because I got fat fingers, but at any rate, down is off and up is on. We go ahead and put this side cover on. There are two rubber tabs, or two rubber grommets that tabs on the cover should lock into before you put the screws in place. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start it up. I'm going to shut it off immediately because we're in a small room and I don't want carbon monoxide poisoning, so we don't have to leave it run for very long. But on the Predator, the starting procedure is turn the knob all the way to the start position. Make sure that the, never mind, on the Predator, the fuel selector valve and the ignition switch are all in one unit. Just turn it to the start position. And on a brand new generator, they're kind of rough starting, so you've got to pull it like you mean it. Once they're broke in, they'll start easier. Once it's started, you'll move the position to the run. Not warmed up enough yet. What this is choke. So in the start position, the choke is closed. Once it's warmed up enough to run without choke, now to shut the generator off. So now you can shut your generator off from the comfort of your sleeping bag or your tent or whatever without having to fight the mosquitoes. Incidentally, the kit also includes a flash drive with a copy of the video that we're shooting right now on it. That should just about cover it.